There's a bullet hole went right through baby's room, went through her window.
Just before 11 a.m., on an otherwise quiet Monday morning, residents of Farmington, New Mexico, suddenly began hearing what sounded like hundreds of gunshots tearing through their neighborhood. Within seconds, the local 911 center was overwhelmed by terrified callers reporting automatic gunfire, people screaming in the streets, and bullets passing through homes and vehicles.
There's gunfire, there's automatic gunfire, there's fire, there's shooting, and there are people out on the street, and there's yelling, and somebody's shooting. Oh my gosh, get on your ground, hurry!
Ma'am, can you get in a safe location?
I'm in a safe location.
Okay, can you guys get down?
Yes.
Can you guys see anyone?
Yes. I know, they're outside and they're shooting.
Many gunfire.
Oh, okay, we do already have that. Yes, we do have the information. We are just asking everyone to stay away from the doors and windows. Do you have any information on who the shooter is?
No, but it sounds like they could have killed. They probably shot 300 rounds, and I'm not kidding.
One woman also explained that a bullet had traveled through the window of a baby's bedroom, while another caller reported seeing a wounded woman nearby as the shooting continued only a short distance away.
Do you see anything?
No, there's a lady here. She's bleeding right now. They're shooting on Dustin. It's going off like crazy right now.
Okay.
Are you okay?
He shot through my window.
He shot through your window?
Yes, I have a hole in my window.
The lady shot through her window.
We need an ambulance. There's a guy down out in the street.
Residential security cameras soon captured a lone figure dressed entirely in black walking calmly through the streets. While everyone else was hiding behind locked doors and staying away from their windows, he appeared to be moving through the neighborhood in search of more targets. Officers rushed toward the area without knowing exactly where the shooter was, how many weapons he carried, or whether anyone else was involved.
4041 sitcom, create a call. They have such fire at East Navajo Street, multiple casualties. I'm on my way.
New Mexico State Police Officer Andreas Stamatiadis was one of the first responders heading toward the scene. However, before he could even locate the gunman, a bullet passed through his patrol vehicle and struck him in the hand.
1441, I got shot. I'm shot.
Despite the injury, Stamatiadis remained conscious and continued informing dispatchers of the suspect's direction as he drove himself toward the hospital. Meanwhile, Farmington police officer Benjamin Jimenez had reached the neighborhood on foot. Witnesses reported that the shooter was moving south near a Methodist church and appeared to be carrying an automatic-style weapon, prompting Jimenez and the other arriving officers to begin closing in on him.
More shots are being fired! Sarge, stop right there! Stop right there! Make a contact team. Give me another unit to Dustin and Apache, Dustin and Navajo. Right here, follow me. Right up here by the White House. White House on the west east side. West side! Right up here by the White House. White House on the west east side. West side! Hey, please, get out of the way! Get shots fired! Get back inside, people! Arms to your hands! I'm good! I'm shot! Go for it, devil!
You okay? Okay, you hit.
Where you hit? Where? Where's your tourniquet?
Hey!
Where's your tourniquet?
I'm with you.
We got one hit, Jimmy! Give me a medic here for Sarge!
The officers were now facing an active shooter with one colleague wounded beside them and another already on his way to the hospital. Even so, They continued moving forward until an exchange of gunfire finally brought the suspect down.
Subject is down! Subject is down! She's fired! She's fired! Move up. Single shot. Hey! Yeah. We're securing! Do not move! Do not move! Got cuffs right here. Cuff him. Here we go. 428. Subject is down. He is secured. We need 55, 1018.
Once the gunman had been secured, their attention immediately turned to Sergeant DeZenzo.
Just breathe.
Rachel, I'm coming. Where else you hit, Rachel?
I don't know.
Okay, I'm here, all right? I got you. You got another tourniquet on you? All right, I got to take the shirt down. Sorry.
My guns are there.
I know. We're going to load and go. Hey, we're going to load and go. I got you. You got to...
I think I'm hit in my head. I'm just burning.
Where?
My burning in my crotch area.
Okay. No, you're good. We need medics here. I got to... Yeah.
Am I hit?
Yeah. Hey, give me a medic here now. We got a tourniquet on her, but we need to transport. I don't have a radio.
Davis, where are you at?
It's stalling, but this is what I'm worried about, okay?
Her fellow officers applied emergency medical care, reassured her that she was not alone, and quickly carried her into a vehicle so she could be transported to the hospital. For a brief moment, it appeared that the immediate threat had ended. Then another warning came over the radio, suggesting that there could be a second shooter somewhere in the area.
I need all individuals working this scene to be aware there could be a possible second shooter. I'll be aware on that.
Police had received reports of 2 people firing at one another, and with so many weapons being discharged at once, no one yet understood whether the dead gunman had acted alone. Officers were forced to continue searching the neighborhood while treating every home, vehicle, and dark corner as a potential hiding place. They checked on residents whose houses had been struck by bullets before making their way toward the suspect's property. Inside the house, police discovered spent ammunition and signs that numerous rounds had been fired from the surrounding area. They carefully cleared every bedroom, closet, and bathroom before moving into the backyard, where a shed, a camper, and several vehicles created countless places for another armed person to hide.
Cover that camper. Zach, we're going to move up. Let's get another unit on us. Come up. Hold on the camper. Hold on this van right here.
Got the van.
Okay, you're good on the van?
Yep.
Zach and I are going to move to the shed, and then we'll come back to you. Okay. Here we go. Park the police! Back yourself down! Park the police! Okay. Park the police! And man in the shed! Make yourself down! Good. Park the police! Make yourself known. Got a dog. Park the police! Not concerned about the dog right now. Stand by. I got dark corner. Park the police! Make yourself known! Got a rifle. Muzzle loader. Park the police! Make yourself known!
The officers repeatedly ordered anyone inside to reveal themselves before entering the shed, but no second gunman was found. As the neighborhood was gradually secured, investigators began to understand the true scale of what had happened. The shooter had fired at least 190 rounds, sending bullets through homes, vehicles, and bedroom windows across the surrounding streets.
How many homicides do we have total, not including him? Like how many did he? 3?
I know of 3. We have the 2 in the van, and we have the one lady that jumped out of the car and then was transported and died at the hospital.
Okay, so we have for sure 3 homicides, and then, so that's not including him. And then the officer involved shooting part with him, so we've got 4 deceased on scene.
3 women had been killed. The first was 79-year-old Shirley Voita, who had simply been driving past the shooter's home when he opened fire on her vehicle. Although she managed to get out of the car after being hit, she collapsed in the road. A mother and daughter who were passing nearby then stopped to help her. Instead of allowing them to assist the wounded woman, the shooter turned his weapon toward them as well. 73-year-old Melody Ivy and her 97-year-old mother, Gwendolyn Schofield, were both killed while attempting to help a complete stranger. Several other people escaped only by chance. One resident described how a bullet had passed through a room where a baby could easily have been standing, while another explained that someone had moved away from a window only moments before gunfire struck the house. The shooter was eventually identified as 18-year-old Bo Wilson, a high school senior who was only 1 day away from graduating. Wilson had reportedly struggled after being removed from his wrestling team and had recently spoken to a medical professional about depression and hearing voices. Although he was advised to seek specialized help, he never attended the appointment. Police also found a disturbing message written on one of his weapons, but it still failed to explain why he had targeted complete strangers. There was no known connection between Wilson and the 3 women he killed. Shirley Voida had simply been driving past, while Melody Ivy and her mother, Gwendolyn Schofield, were shot after stopping to help her. Doorbell footage captured Wilson calling for police to kill him, and the fact that he had left his bulletproof vest behind led investigators to believe he intended to die during the confrontation. The reports of a second shooter were eventually dismissed, and police confirmed that Wilson had acted alone. Both wounded officers survived, but 3 innocent women were dead, and an entire neighborhood was left searching for an explanation. Police could reconstruct the attack and identify several warning signs, but they could never establish a clear motive for why those particular victims had to die. And that is what made the case so difficult to comprehend. Investigators could explain almost every moment of the attack, except why it happened in the first place. But unexplained violence does not always involve a gun. Sometimes, the scene confronting police is so disturbing that the original report sounds impossible, until they witness it themselves. The footage captured what would later become known as one of the most disturbing and unexplainable attacks ever witnessed by a responding police officer. On May 26, 2012, witnesses near Miami's MacArthur Causeway began calling for help after seeing a naked man violently attacking another person beside the road. One cyclist who passed the scene quickly realized that this was not an ordinary fight and flagged down a nearby officer, reporting that the attacker appeared to be biting into the other man's face. At first, the situation must have sounded almost impossible. However, when the officer approached the scene, he discovered that the witness had not been exaggerating. A man was positioned over another person on the ground, tearing into his face with his teeth, while the severely injured victim remained trapped beneath him. The officer drew his weapon and repeatedly ordered the attacker to stop. But instead of surrendering, the man reportedly raised his head, growled, and immediately continued the assault. With the victim facing potentially fatal injuries, the officer opened fire.
Hey! Hey! Let me see your hands! 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 Hey! 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 Hey!
Even after being struck by the first round, the attacker appeared completely unfazed and continued biting the man beneath him, forcing the officer to fire several more times before the assault finally stopped. The attacker was identified as 31-year-old Rudy Eugene, while the surviving victim was 65-year-old Ronald Popo. Eugene was killed at the scene after being shot 4 times, but Popo was still alive and was rushed to hospital with devastating injuries to his face. In the days that followed, the brutality of the attack quickly led to speculation that Eugene had been experiencing a drug-induced psychosis. News reports frequently connected his behavior to a synthetic drug known as bath salts, and the incident soon became infamous online as the Miami zombie attack. But the toxicology results only made the case more difficult to explain. The medical examiner found no bath salts, cocaine, LSD, PCP, methamphetamine, alcohol, or other commonly suspected substances in Eugene's system. The only drug detected was marijuana. Investigators could establish what Eugene had done, but they never uncovered a clear explanation for why he had suddenly launched such an extreme and apparently unprovoked attack. Popo later said that he did not know Eugene and could not identify anything he had done to provoke him. In broad daylight, a man with no known connection to his victim carried out an attack so violent and unnatural that even after the footage, toxicology results, and witness accounts were examined, no one could fully explain what had driven him to do it. But the next case did not begin with screaming witnesses or a violent confrontation. It began with a child quietly telling her school that there was a baby inside a box at home. On May 19, 2022, an elementary school student told a member of staff that her aunt was keeping a baby inside a box at home. The statement was disturbing enough for the school to immediately contact law enforcement, and officers were sent to the property to determine whether a child could be in danger. However, when they questioned the family, the situation appeared to be far different from what the young girl had described. The woman explained that her sister had suffered a miscarriage several months into her pregnancy and had placed the fetal remains inside a small jewelry box. To the officer, it initially appeared that the child had simply misunderstood an unusual but deeply personal family situation.
Police department.
Yes.
Hello, are you tied?
Yes.
Tiana. So you have your niece Kennedy, or is it, or nephew Kennedy?
Daughter?
Is that your daughter?
Yes.
Okay, I guess she went to school and said you have a baby in a box.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
What?
She told the school counselor that there's a baby in a box in the house.
She talking about my sister's baby that she had a miscarriage.
Is it like in an urn or something?
You know, like a jewelry box.
Yeah, but it's okay.
Yeah, and my sister had it hanging up right here, but the kids was touching it, so she moved it.
Okay, so your sister had a miscarriage.
Yes.
Did the whole funeral service, and it's like a memorial type of box, or she?
No, I don't know why. She just put it in the box. I don't know.
How far along was she?
She was only like 4 months.
Although the explanation made the report sound less sinister, the officers still faced an unusual legal question. Regulations surrounding fetal remains differ depending on the location, and it was unclear whether keeping them inside the home was something police needed to investigate further.
This Eddie. You be talking about...
Did she go to the hospital when she had the miscarriage?
No, I was there.
So,
yeah, Kennedy at the school talking about how I have a baby in
or
the
he said
box.
Auntie TT.
Have a baby in the box.
Is that your sister?
Yeah,
Go by TT?
and that's her dude right here.
Okay, so you guys had a miscarriage. And you guys are just keeping the baby in like a memorial box.
She was only about what, 3 months maybe.
Okay.
Yeah, it ain't nothing like that. It's really like in a little box, like.
Yeah, I mean, that 3 months are not very big. It's like.
Yeah, that's why she put it in like a little jewelry box, like.
Okay. All right. I'll give my sergeant a call, let him know what's going on. But I don't know what we would even do. Like if there's anything to even be done. Like.
Yeah, like because what y'all still got the box?
Yeah.
About 2 years now.
2 years now? Okay. I mean, I'll explain to you
Sorry
outside. I don't think there's any real thing need for us. So.
For the moment, the officer seemed to believe the family's story and prepared to contact his sergeant for guidance. Before he could do so, his partner arrived, forcing the family to explain the situation again. This time, they casually revealed several details that made the story much harder to understand. The remains had apparently been buried in the backyard before being dug up again and placed on display near the fireplace. Even more concerningly, the box had been left somewhere the children could reach it, and the family admitted that they had previously played with it. Despite these unsettling details, The officers appeared to assume that the box contained cremated remains and left the property without examining it. But it would not be long before they returned.
So, this gentleman here and his girlfriend, her sister, had a miscarriage 2 years ago, and they've been keeping the baby in like a memorial box, and that's what the girl's talking about.
Yeah, because that was the only thing, because they did used to keep it right here on the fireplace.
I guess it was on the fireplace on display, and then the kids were playing with it, so now they moved it, and they're talking about it.
Yeah.
So.
Because at first they had it buried in the backyard.
What's that?
I said
at first they had it like buried in the backyard, the little jewelry box.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know why they.
Somebody dug it up, so I just wanted to know.
Okay. Okay.
Well, what, second grade? Is that what
Yeah.
They say anything, you know what I mean?
So.
Yeah, that's crazy.
When the officers came back and asked to see the box, the family opened it, only to discover that it was empty. The remains that had supposedly been stored inside for nearly 2 years were suddenly gone. One of the residents then offered an explanation that made the situation even more disturbing. They believed the family dog may have found the box and chewed up what was inside. Even the officers seemed unsure how to respond.
Yes.
Hi. So I know this is unconventional.
This my sister on the phone now.
So I understand that this is probably emotional and everything else. We just need to see the box.
See, but Shaliqua, we just opened the box. The baby not in the box.
Not in the box.
Okay.
Oh no, we couldn't find it.
I think the dog chewed it up.
Nah.
Yeah, I broke down one night because the baby was gone.
Because that is the box the baby was in, for sure. Because he literally just brought it to me like, look, and opened it. And I'm like, what the hell?
Okay. Okay.
What's the matter? They wanted to see the proof of the baby.
So essentially, we just have to ensure that, the baby didn't make it the full term. With the her going and saying that you guys have a baby in the box, we just have to ensure that it was not actual.
That's understandable.
Despite the missing remains, the changing story, and the fact that the box had apparently been handled by children, police ultimately decided there was not enough evidence to continue the investigation. They accepted that the child's original report had been a misunderstanding, chose not to force the family to revisit an emotionally painful experience, and left without filing any charges.
We appreciate your cooperation and understanding, and maybe have a talk with your daughter when she comes home.
Yeah, I'm going to have to.
Okay.
What, do I need to go get proof that I had a miscarriage?
No, you guys are okay. You're okay.
I'm about to say, I got a picture.
Again, if you come out and it was a big old shoebox and like something like that, then that'd be we might actually have to see it, and then that sort of thing. But obviously, that's if it was in, that's the box it was in. Then
I think that's my old phone.
It's okay, man. If that's
it really was in that box though.
Okay, I believe you guys.
Yeah.
And obviously, no actual baby's gonna fit in that box.
Right.
So, you know what I mean? We're gonna use I'm gonna exercise some common sense on this.
Right.
So I appreciate your guys' cooperation, your understanding, and again, I know it's emotional and it's dragging up a lot to memories.
Yeah,
so
2 cars.
I appreciate it, and hopefully you guys try and have a better day. And like I said, maybe just talk to your daughter, let her know that you might need to either we explain more or it's just something that we pray for and just leave it at that.
Well, an odd situation for sure.
But although police closed the case, several questions were never clearly answered. Why had the remains been buried and later dug up? Why had they been displayed inside the house where children could reach them? And most importantly, what had actually happened to them before the officers returned? What began as a child reporting a baby in a box had seemingly been explained. Yet by the time police left, the truth behind what was once inside that box was more unclear than ever. The truth behind what had once been inside the box remained unclear. Yet in the next case, investigators were not searching for a missing object. They were trying to discover the identity of a dead man who had deliberately erased himself. In June 2009, an unidentified man arrived in the quiet Irish town of Sligo and checked into the Sligo City Hotel under the name Peter Bergman. He paid for the room in cash and carried only a small amount of luggage, but he provided no passport, identification, or personal photographs that could reveal who he really was. Over the following 3 days, CCTV cameras recorded Bergman repeatedly leaving the hotel while carrying a purple plastic bag. Each time he returned, however, the bag was empty. Investigators later believed he may have been traveling across the town and disposing of his personal belongings piece by piece, deliberately removing anything that could eventually be used to identify him. Then, on June 16th, his body was discovered on Ross's Point Beach. There was no identification on him. The address he had given in Vienna was found to be fake, and no relatives or friends ever came forward to report him missing. Gardaí submitted his fingerprints and DNA to databases around the world, but no matches were found. Even the name Peter Bergman appeared to have been invented. Everything investigators uncovered suggested that the man had carefully planned his final days, choosing a false identity, paying in cash, and erasing every trace of his previous life before his death. Perhaps he simply wanted to disappear quietly without leaving his family to deal with what had happened. Or perhaps there was something in his past that he desperately wanted to make sure no one would ever uncover. Police could trace his final movements through Sligo and reconstruct almost everything he had done during his stay. The only thing they could never determine was who he had been before he arrived. And more than a decade later, the man known only as Peter Bergman remains one of Ireland's most disturbing unidentified mysteries. Peter Bergman appeared to erase every trace of his own life. In the final case, however, 2 suspects allegedly tried to erase the evidence of 3 other lives and nearly convinced police that nothing had happened.
99% this is either an animal or a person.
Yeah. That looks like a human, dude.
Roll the police! Anyone inside, make yourself known!
This is a horrible nightmare.
What are we looking at here?
I don't know, you told me.
This is one of the worst things that I've ever had to be involved with.
What began as a routine welfare check in rural New Mexico would eventually lead police to 3 burned bodies, a staged crime scene, and 2 suspects telling stories that seemed to become stranger every time they spoke. It began when a man named Kane Mays contacted the Otero County Sheriff's Office about his deceased father's property.
Communications.
Hi, good morning. I'm hoping to file a police report, and I might need some assistance doing so.
Okay, and what's your first and last name?
Kane Mays.
Okay, and tell me what's going on.
I've been living abroad for the past 6 years, and I found out that my father died last year shortly after Christmas. I have recently returned home. I'm living in New Mexico again, and I was hoping to return to the family property. Since his passing, tons and tons of family possessions and property have all gone missing and have either been sold off, lost, or stolen, and I'm looking to reassume possession of the property, but there are people squatting in the house.
Do you know who these people are?
I do. I could give you first and last names, but not anything much else.
Kane had spent several years living abroad before returning to New Mexico. He claimed that relatives had taken control of the family home, sold valuable belongings, and refused to leave property that he believed should now belong to him. Not long afterward, Kane called police again, this time requesting a welfare check on his elderly grandmother, Mary, who lived at the property with his uncle Victor and his stepbrother Killian. But before officers could arrive, Kane suddenly called back and canceled the request. He claimed that he had visited the house himself, found it completely locked, and believed everything was fine. At first, dispatchers had no reason to question him. It appeared to be nothing more than a complicated family dispute. Then another relative named Mike arrived at the police station.
Sir. Hey, how you doing? Doing well, Sergeant Nordquist.
Mike Blitz.
Mike, it's nice to meet you. How can I help you today?
Okay, well, my brother-in-law helps us take care of my mother-in-law.
Okay.
And he normally is very conscientious about showing up when he says he's going to show up and everything.
Yeah.
And we had to, we schedule him. We've been taking care of my mother-in-law for 7 years.
Okay.
She's 92 years old. So anyway, we normally communicate quite a bit during the week and stuff,
So, are you wanting to check on him or your mother-in-law?
No, on him.
He lives at No Gal.
Yes. Yeah. See,
and somebody had called earlier. We were out busy, but someone had called in for a welfare check, but they canceled us prior to us getting up there because they said whoever it was, and I can go look and find the name, that said that house was locked up tight and nobody was up there.
Yeah.
Do you know a Kane Mays?
Yeah, I do know. That's part of the problem.
Okay, so what's the problem there?
Okay, well, I think he's trying to keep us from going over to look. The house is owned by his father. Yeah, well, the owner of the house, okay, was Frank Beret, and he's deceased.
Frank is deceased.
Yeah. Victor, his brother, was living with him along with Kane's grandmother and his stepbrother, Killian.
Mike explained that Victor, Mary, and Killian had all disappeared. None of them were answering their phones. Both of Victor's vehicles were missing, and Kane had allegedly been seen at the property carrying a firearm. More concerningly, Mike believed Kane had deliberately canceled the welfare check to stop police from entering the house. He described Kane as a dangerous liar and warned officers to approach the property carefully. Police finally conducted a search of the home, but what they discovered only made the situation more confusing.
I got an open door.
Sheriff's office! Sheriff's office, if you're in here, make yourself known! Sheriff's office!
Stay here with Sarge. Stay here with Sarge. Gotcha. Eesh. Yeah, I was gonna say everything's stacked and piled.
The front door was open. Boxes and belongings had been stacked throughout the house, and it appeared as though the occupants may have been preparing to move. However, no one was inside. There were no obvious signs of a struggle, no visible blood, and nothing immediately suggesting that a violent crime had taken place.
Oh, sir. So we went up to that address. So we cleared the residence. There was nobody inside. There's no vehicles matching the descriptions of the Subarus you gave on the property. So, but there was no signs of a struggle, no signs of any foul play that we could determine. There were some boxes that appeared to be like being packed up, but other than that, that's all we got.
The thing is, all three people are missing that were staying there at the house. But definitely the king is the kicker that, he's the one that did all that. He called, got your name, and then he was able to send me that text saying that he spoke to you.
Yeah.
And then he called back later and canceled the deal, right?
Yes, sir. And on the face of it, it looks super sketchy, but there was no indication that we could see of any foul play or
a struggle or anything.
Struggle, yes, sir.
All three family members had simply vanished. When Sergeant Nordquist later questioned Kane, another strange inconsistency emerged. Kane had sent Mike a message suggesting that he had personally spoken with the sergeant and had been told everything was fine. But that conversation had never happened. Police now suspected Kane was trying to control the investigation, but they still had no crime scene, no bodies, and no clear explanation for where the missing family had gone. That changed 2 days later. A caller reported seeing a fire in the desert only a short distance from the family property.
911, where's your emergency?
Yeah, I'm phoning about there's a fire off into the mounds area. I called before about 2 minutes ago. So
we drove down the road to see if we could get a better view of the fire to help you guys out.
Okay. Well, we have already toned out the fire department, so we will get units headed that way to see if they can locate.
Yeah.
Okay.
I sit at the top of that road for a second. They'll be able to see it.
We'll let them know.
When deputies arrived, they discovered a vehicle overturned and still smoking inside a remote area. It appeared to be one of Victor's missing Subarus.
We got tire tracks towards the direction I walked. Just follow the path. I got the vehicle, it's smoking. I got a couple sets of shoe impressions, tire tracks, all that. 99% sure there was a cage and a spinal cord in here, in this vehicle. Look right in here.
Yeah.
That looks like a human, dude. These things burn hot.
Yeah.
So, Hopefully Slater's and his team's on the way.
Among the burned interior, police could see what appeared to be human remains. 3 bodies had been placed inside the vehicle and burned so severely that officers could not immediately identify them.
This might be a Subaru it's a vehicle that they haven't accounted for yet. Look right here.
Oh, for sure.
You see it?
Yeah. It's not, do you see a soul anywhere?
I couldn't look at it here. Just given the circumstances, this actually might be one of the missing people.
What's that right there?
I was looking at that too.
Oh, yeah.
That's a skull cap right there.
Yeah. Yep.
It's by one of our missing people with the missing vehicle.
From up here?
Huh?
From up here?
Yeah, I guess Brad, he suspects some guy named Kane killed most of his relatives that live here. And this vehicle, I think, is a Subaru. Looks like
this is really fresh, dude. There's more over here.
He had to have put it out himself, because it would have caught this whole place on fire.
Autopsies later confirmed that the victims were Victor, Mary, and Killian. At least one had suffered a gunshot wound to the head, although the fire had destroyed too much evidence to determine every injury. The welfare check had now become a triple homicide investigation. Police returned to the family home with a search warrant and specialized chemicals designed to reveal blood that had been cleaned away. This time, the house told a completely different story. Investigators discovered spent .22 caliber shell casings, a live round, and high-velocity blood spatter throughout parts of the property. They also found evidence that someone had attempted to clean the scene and rearrange the belongings to make the house appear as though the family had voluntarily moved out. What police had initially mistaken for ordinary clutter was actually hiding the aftermath of a violent crime. But the scale of the cleanup suggested that Kane may not have acted alone. Following the disturbing discoveries inside the house, investigators continued searching the property and contacting Kane's relatives, fearing that he may already have fled New Mexico, or could even be attempting to return to Canada. A few days later, detectives visited Mike and his wife, Lourdes Blett, hoping they might know more about Kane's location. Lourdes had close personal ties to all 3 missing family members. Victor Perillo was her brother, Mary Mauser was his longtime partner, and Killian Mays was her grandnephew. But before detectives could ask about Kane or any possible accomplices, they first had to deliver the devastating news.
On the property? In the Subaru? Or that?
I can't tell you what vehicle it was for sure right now. Again,
so you already know they're
cannot,
people?
I can't
but you
tell
know
you
they're
who
street
they
people?
Are. Yes. I'm really sorry that I even have to share this information with you.
This is a horrible nightmare. It's horrendous.
I agree with you 100%.
Murder.
This is
no.
one of the worst things that I've ever had to be involved with.
Although police could not yet formally confirm their identities, Lourdes immediately understood what they were suggesting. Overcome with grief, she described the situation as a horrible nightmare. But her sadness quickly turned into fear as she warned detectives that Kane was dangerous and that other members of the family could still be at risk. She begged officers to find him before anyone else was harmed.
He's a psychopath. He's a psychopath. Kane, I didn't want to say that. I didn't want to drop him in the doodle, but he's crazy. You gotta find him. We're afraid of him. He hasn't even asked how my mother is, and that's his blood grandmother.
We're working.
Oh my God, how can this be? Michael, how can it be?
Then, during the conversation, Lourdes and Mike mentioned another relative investigators had not yet fully examined, Kane's half-sister, Cassandra Douglas. And based on what police had already uncovered inside the house, they were beginning to suspect that Kane may not have carried out the cleanup alone. Investigators then turned their attention to Kane's half-sister, Cassandra Douglas. Before detectives could contact her, Cassandra requested a welfare check on Kane, claimed he had disappeared, and attempted to direct suspicion toward Mike, the relative who had first warned police.
Hi, is there any way that you would mind putting in a welfare check on my brother, Kane Mays?
What's the address?
He told me that he was going to 680 Cox Canyon, Cloud Croft, New Mexico.
680 Cox Canyon?
Yes, ma'am. He was supposed to meet up with our uncle and told me that if he didn't come back last night, and definitely if he didn't come back in the morning, that I needed to call you guys. He's been part of a missing persons thing, and Mike has been acting very aggressive and hostile towards us.
Officers then visited her home, but when they asked about Kane, she insisted she had not seen him.
Hello?
Hello.
Hi.
Are you Candace?
No, Candace is across the street.
Okay, are you Cassandra?
I am.
Okay. So my name's Ryan Poston Reader.
Hi.
I'm a detective with the Ruidoso Police Department.
Hello.
Do you have a second to talk to me?
What's up?
So did you make a 911 call for a welfare check?
I did for Kane Mays.
For Kane, yeah.
Yeah.
That was you that made that call.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Have you heard from Kane?
I have not.
No, you still haven't heard from him?
I have not.
How do you know Kane?
He's my brother.
It's your brother?
Or my half-brother.
And when was the last time you heard from him?
He was supposed to go up to meet with Mike, I think on the 21st. He told me that if he didn't show up by the morning of the 22nd, that I needed to file a missing persons report because I already have 3 family members missing. Killian and Mary were supposed to go up to Albuquerque. I haven't seen those two alive since 11/23. Give me just a second.
Okay.
In reality, Kane was allegedly hiding inside the same house while she spoke to them outside.
Sorry, we're also having issues with a psychotic ex of mine. So
Oh, jeez. You're going through a lot right now.
a little bit. And then with Kane going missing and Mike presumably having like over half of his guns. It's a really, really long story.
Okay.
And not one that I'm 100% familiar with because Kane just came back into my life September of last year. So like, I wish I had all my facts straight.
I completely understand. No big deal.
Neighbors later reported seeing Kane living with Cassandra and driving Victor's missing green Subaru. Investigators also found an older photograph proving they had known each other far longer than she claimed. More disturbing evidence came from nearby Walmart surveillance footage, which showed Kane and Cassandra purchasing bleach, vinegar, and kerosene, items that could have been used to clean the house and start the vehicle fire. After police searched Cassandra's home and recovered victim belongings and live ammunition, they tracked her phone nearly 1,000 miles away to a motel in Mississippi. When officers confronted her, Cassandra continued claiming Kane was missing and that Mike could be responsible. But while defending her brother, she made a critical mistake.
That's who? This, or actually, technically I'm Douglas, because I still have my ex's last name. So, what's going on? What are we looking at here? I don't know, you tell me. All I know is that my brother went missing on the 21st. We were trying to investigate his property. We thought Mary and Killian had left, and then Mike came down and started being aggressive and hateful and shooting rounds. And we've already tried to file this with the Roswell Police Department down in New Mexico. Would you consent to a search of your vehicle? You can search the car and you can search the room. I don't care. Okay.
We found documents showing that they were still using Frank's credit cards and Frank had been dead, and that all of the bills were still in Frank's name and they were still using that. And so I told him that that was illegal as fuck and he needed to make a police report because you can't be using, don't stick that in my face, honey. That's like identity theft.
Is it true that Kane didn't even know his dad died?
Yeah. He didn't know that his dad died until he came back to States. He found his obituary. He found his obituary shortly before on the internet. That's how he figured it out.
So almost a year later, he finds out his dad died.
And I know that he's upset about that. But that's not enough reason to kill somebody.
She said that anger over his father's property was not enough reason to kill someone. But police had never told her that the missing relatives were dead. Even then, officers failed to realize Kane had traveled to Mississippi with her and was hiding nearby. But less than an hour after police left, Cassandra drove Kane to a local police station where he voluntarily attempted to explain himself. He claimed Mike had fired shots at him and forced him to flee New Mexico. But investigators had already checked Mike's property. There were no bullet holes, no evidence of a shooting, and no surveillance footage showing Kane had ever been there. While Kane continued talking, officers located Victor's missing green Subaru. Inside, they found latex gloves, .22 caliber ammunition, an empty handgun box, and Kane's passport. The voluntary interview immediately became an arrest.
How's it going, bud? How you mind there? All right, stuff. You mind standing up for me real quick? Yes, sir. Turn around, facing this wall. Yes, sir. Put your hands on the wall for me. All right. So what's going on, man, is you're going to be going down to the Soda County Sheriff's Office, all right? You're going down to our jail, all right? Yes, sir. All right, walk this way.
Cassandra later returned to New Mexico, where detectives confronted her with evidence suggesting Kane could not have cleaned the house and moved 3 bodies alone. Under pressure, she admitted helping clean blood, remove furniture, and dispose of the bodies. However, she claimed they had simply discovered the family already dead and covered everything up because they did not trust the police. Detectives found that almost impossible to believe. Instead of calling for help, the pair had allegedly cleaned the house, loaded 3 bodies into a Subaru, concealed it in the desert, and later returned to set it on fire. During Kane's final interrogation, detectives revealed that Cassandra had described the cover-up. Realizing she was no longer protecting him, Kane admitted helping move the bodies and destroy evidence. "I messed up your crime scene," he told them. But he continued denying the murders, claiming he had heard approximately 20 gunshots before finding his relatives dead. Investigators argued that his story did not match the physical evidence, missing weapons or extensive cover-up. Kane was charged with arson, aggravated burglary, and 3 counts of first-degree murder. Cassandra was also charged with 3 counts of first-degree murder, conspiracy to commit murder, and tampering with evidence. Investigators believe the case may have been motivated by Kane's dispute over approximately 22 acres of family property. Yet both suspects continued claiming they had only discovered the bodies, without explaining why 2 innocent people would clean away the blood, burn their relatives' remains, and construct an elaborate story designed to keep police away. That's all for today, folks. If you like to see more of this creepy content, click on the video on screen.